Good morning, folks. It's Harry Swaminathan. It's Sunday, July 14th, about 9:55 a.m. in the morning, and I'm looking at some possible earnings trades that's coming up this week. As far as I can see, a lot of the stocks are reporting next week. So, all your high flyers like your Apple and Amazon. However, we do have a couple of good stocks, exciting stocks reporting this week. The first one, I believe, that is on my list at least, is Goldman Sachs. So here we have Goldman Sachs at 160, and I'm looking at, and Goldman Sachs is releasing earnings on 7/16. So that's Tuesday morning before the market. So basically Monday night and Tuesday morning. So what we want to do is, if we want to get into this trade, we'll have to put it tomorrow itself, which is Monday. And the trade I'm thinking, usually what you want to do is for earnings trades, you want to try to play a collapse in the volatility, so what we call the volatility crush. However, in this case, there's a couple of things I'm noticing. First of all, the volatility is not great on Goldman Sachs. The regular is between 26 and 28, and it's bumped up to about 35. I would have expected that number to be at least 50 to get a good vol crush. So, which means we may not be getting a whole lot trying to sell volatility. So then I started looking at the other trades. So Goldman Sachs is at 160. So it can easily move $5, $10. So based upon whether it's good or bad. So what I thought was a sort of low risk, but at the same time, low risk in terms of the amount of dollars that we put in. So it's right now at 160. Let's say if it moves about $5 to $8 in after the earnings, we want to basically try to see if we can play a long position here because as you can see, the volatility crushes not a whole lot. And if it moves, let's say we were to buy a strangle, for example, at 155 and 165. So we would pay 81 cents plus about 82 cents. So about $1.60. That's what we would pay in debit for this trade. $1.60, let's say 10 contracts, so that's about $1,600. Now, all Goldman Sachs needs to do is to move $5 in either way, and this trade would make a nice profit because one of these options is going to be very high price, perhaps $3 or $4. So the reward to return is potentially 3:1 or 4:1. And now, if you even wanted to reduce the risk a little, lower than that, what we could do is make this a long condor. So basically, we would buy the 155 and sell the 150, and similarly, we'd buy the 165 and sell the 170. That way, we are at least making up about 22 cents here and about 28 cents here. So that obviously reduces our risk on the trade. And we are capping our profit at $10, and I think that's reasonable. That's a good trade-off, in my opinion. So basically, what we would do is something like this. Let's buy a vertical, 155, and we pay a debit of 54 cents. And similarly, on the other side, let's buy a vertical right here as well. So if we buy a vertical, 165, 170. So now we're paying only $1,100 for a 10 contract position. And if we look at the risk profile, basically that's what it is. As long as Goldman Sachs makes a move in either direction, and we can see that if the move happens, even it doesn't have to go through our break even or anything like that. Even if it comes up a little bit, we could potentially make a decent profit. Obviously, the trade will lose all its money if by expiry. And the good thing with this trade is you still have a couple of days after earnings to make any adjustment if you thought necessary. So our maximum risk on the trade is $1,100, $1,140. And obviously, if Goldman Sachs ends up making a big move, then we have the potential for 3,860. Obviously, it has to move, beyond 150, below 150 or above 170 for that. But even if it makes a $5 to $8 move, we can see that we can make a pretty good return. So I think I'm going to prefer this trade for Goldman Sachs rather than selling volatility. We're actually going to buy volatility, but that's not going to help us. What we are generally saying is that Goldman Sachs should make a move between $5 and $10, in which case we can make this a nice profitable trade. Thanks.